Yaakov Avinu was learning for 14 years in the yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, and he obviously didn't sleep. And the pasuk says in this week's parsha, Perek Chav Ches pasuk Tezayin, Vayikatz Yaakov Mishnaso. Yaakov woke up from his slumber. Vayomer, and he said, Achein Yesh Hashem. There's Hashem b'makom hazeh. I feel Hashem's presence. Vanoch lo yadati. I had no idea. Vayirav Vayomar Manora makom hazeh. How awesome this place is. Ein zeh kim beis Elokim. This is the place of the house of God, the future makom hamikdash, where the Beis Hamikdash would eventually be built. He calls it a bayis. V'zeh shar hashamayim. It's the gate of heaven. V'ashkem Yaakov baboker. He got up. V'yikach even shesam rashosav. He got the stone from under his head, his pillow. He made an altar out of it. V'yitzok shem ben avashai. Poured oil on it. The Medrash says that although the simple explanation of the pasuk is that Yaakov woke up from his slumber, Vayikatz Yaakov Mishnato, he woke up from his shena, from his sleep. The Medrash says, Al tikri Mishnato, don't read it as shena, his sleep. Ela mi Mishnato, he woke up from his Mishnah. The simple explanation is that, look, he was learning for 14 years, day and night. So when you go to sleep, what are you going to think about? You're going to think about your learning, right? He was thinking and learning the entire time. Yeah, he went to sleep, but Vayikatz Mishnato, he woke from his learning. He was learning Mishnayos, he was learning Mishnah while he was sleeping. But the Ksav Sofer says in the beginning of this week's parsha, no, that's not what the Medrash means. Really, Yaakov Avinu went to sleep. Why? Because he was tired. And what did he dream about? We have absolutely no idea. So what does the Medrash mean? Vayikatz mi Mishnato, he woke up from his Mishnah. Explains the Ksav Sofer that when a person goes to sleep with the intent that the next day, when he wakes up, he's going to be able to learn Torah in a better way, he's going to be able to serve Hashem in a better way, then even his sleep, even his slumber, is considered as if he was learning Torah. When a person takes a very basic act, mundane sleep, but he does it for the purpose so that he could be healthier, he could be stronger, he could be sharper, he could serve Hashem in a better way, so then that is as if he's sleeping, it's as if he's learning during that sleep. In fact, the Gra says this idea in Shulchan Aruch as well, because the Gemara says in Maseches Avodah Zarah and Daf Yud Aleph Mid Aleph that Rebbe was a very, very wealthy man. Super wealthy. He had fruits and vegetables at his table, even in the off-season, when he couldn't get it. Very expensive. He had it at his table. So Tosfos asks Akasha, says, I don't get it. How could it be that Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, had this, seems like, like indulging a little bit. How did he have this fancy schmancy fruits and vegetables at his table? The Gemara says in Ksuvis, on Daf Kuf Daled, the Gemara says that before Rebbe died, he lifted up his hands and he said that I didn't get hana from this world, even from my little finger, nothing. No enough from this world. So Tosfos says, this stira. On one hand, the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that he had all the geshmaka food on his table, and the Gemara in Ksuvis says that he didn't get any enough from this world. So the answer is true. He had it on his table because he had lots of guests over, but he never ate it. It was for his guests. But he didn't, like the Gemara says in Ksuvis, he didn't get any benefit from this world. The Vilna Gaon has a different answer. Says the Gra that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi ate the vegetables. He ate the fruit. And like Tosfos says over there, the fruits and vegetables were good for the digestive system. It was good, it was healthy. Why did Rabbi Yehuda Nasi eat those fruits and vegetables? It wasn't to indulge. Like the Gemara says, he didn't get benefit from this world. Why did he eat it? In order so that he could be healthier and he could serve Hashem better. Eating something that's geshmak with the intention to serve Hashem better is not called indulging. Sleeping, maybe even a lot, as we're about to see, in order to serve Hashem better is not called wasting time, and it's not called bittul Torah, and it's not called just trying to benefit from the comforts of your pillow and your bed. The Taz writes in Even HaEzer in Simon Chafei, the Taz says you can have two people. The Taz, this is Shulchan Aruch, okay? Taz says that you could have two people. One person could stay up late and really push himself really hard so that he can learn more Torah. And another person could go to sleep and sleep for an extra hour, and then the next day, in what he learns in 1 hour, the other guy takes 2 hours. In 1 hour, because his mind is sharper, because he had a good night's sleep, so in the middle of his learning, he's not and Yechavus has to slap you, like, hello, buddy, I'm here, come on. Now he's able to focus, he's able to give a full hour. With Asmada, he can get the same exact schar as the other person that stayed late. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't try to stay up later, and it doesn't mean that you can't push yourself. But a person has to be true to himself. If the fact that he's going to go pull the all-nighter, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, does that mean that the next day he's not going to be able to focus, he's not going to be able to learn, he's not going to be able to daven, he's going to be falling asleep all over the place? A person has to be honest. Now, you could train yourself to sleep less. It's very, very doable. But a person has to do it with the intention that the next day he's going to be able to be strong as well. And you have to build yourself up towards that. But you can't just say, oh, I'm going to learn extra, more hours, and that is going to be better. The Taz is right. So you can get the same schar for the person that went ahead and slept later. All it requires is that there's a shift, a mindset shift. That what I'm doing now, I'm sleeping now, I'm exercising, I'm playing ball, I'm eating, I'm hanging out with friends, whatever it is. It seems like it's mundane, it's regular, it's not important. I'm doing it for the purpose of serving Hashem better. And you have to be honest with yourself. Obviously, it's not so simple. You could always just fool yourself, okay? But that's part of life. We have to try to be honest with ourselves. But if a person does it with true intentions, it changes his basic mundane action into avodas Hashem, and he gets schar as if you're going ahead and doing the mitzvah that you're planning on doing afterwards. The Revolbi brings in Ali Shur and Chelik Beis, you have to look this up inside, okay, page 269. He writes as follows. The Gemara tells us that Chanoch was a shoemaker, and every stitch that he would perform in making the shoes, he caused all these yichudim, unifications of the heavenly realm. So when you look at this Gemara, the way that you think of it, the simple pshat is, he was a shoemaker, but he was like stitching away, like literally was like floating. That's maybe what we call the simple pshat of the Gemara, right? But Rav Yisrael Salanter says that's not what was happening. Yisrael Salanter says that how all these unifications of the heavenly realm, how that take place, because with every stitch that he made in the shoe, he had kavana, his intention was that the person that ultimately that would buy the shoe and wear the shoe would be comfortable. That's it. That was what was going on. His intention was that the person, the owner, should be comfortable, he'd get maximum benefit from the shoe. And he writes, when a person infuses love for other people in his work, that's the greatest unification of the worlds. The Shekhinah is the strongest when a person is trying to infuse chesed in every single thing that he does. Everything that he does, he cares about people, he's trying to help people, it's with kavana. So you change even the basic, most simple act, like sewing a shoe, into very, very high things. Once heard a story about Reb Chaim Brim. Reb Chaim Brim was a Biyana Chassid and a Talmud of the Chazon Ish. I had the schus of speaking with him, meeting with him the week that he passed away. And the story goes as follows. It was a kollel, I think somewhere in Sanhedria, that he learned in at night, and he took a taxi late at night after the kollel back to his home. So he used to tell the taxi driver, he used to say to him, I'm jealous of you. So the taxi driver turned around, you're jealous of me? He is the Gadol Ador. Chaim was one of the Gedolei Ador, the greatest Torah giants of the generation. He said, you're jealous of me? He said, yeah, I'm jealous of you. He said, why are you jealous of me? He said, because all day long, all you do is you take people from the place where they are to the place that they need to be. You're involved in chesed all day long. The schar that you have is immeasurable. It's unfathomable. All you do all day long, you're involved in chesed. Now, I don't know if the taxi driver actually had that in mind when he just might have wanted to make some money. But he was teaching a very important lesson. That yes, you could even be making money. It could be your parnasa, it could be your job. But if you go ahead and have intentions throughout your work that why you're doing what you're doing is in order to do chesed, in order to help people, in order that people are more comfortable, in order for people to learn Torah better. When you go ahead and you have a job and you're making money in the stock market, and you say that the reason I'm doing this is so I can have money to send my son to yeshiva, my daughter to school, whatever it is, you're getting reward for Talmud Torah while you're working. Because you're doing it all for the purpose of mitzvahs. Yaakov Avinu went to sleep. And it says he got up from his Mishnah. He wasn't learning, but he did it in order to learn. So as if he was learning. Now this, of course, is a high level that we try to think about every single thing that we have, even the Gashmias, even anything in the physical world, we try to transform it into a higher level that everything is ruchnius. But it's something that we should strive for in our whole life. I once told that story, by the way, just as a side point. I once told the story, I think at a Shal Shudis here, many, many years ago. So one of the Talmidim here, he got all excited about the story of Chaim Brim, so he made these cards, and he gave them out on every single taxi that he went to, and every bus that he went on, and he gave it out to all the guys in yeshiva. They were giving it out all over the place. There were times you would actually walk on the bus and you'd see this card on the front, and it said, "I have kavana to fulfill the mitzvah of Ahavta l'recha kamocha." And he was trying to get every single bus driver in the entire country to all of a sudden be doing this mitzvah of taking people where they have to get to. Okay, halavai, the whole world should have this kavana. But it's an amazing, it's very exciting type of idea that we really could change everything that we do, eating, hanging out, everything. It can really just change and become part of Avodas Hashem. There's a big nafkamina to this mindset, and it's interesting that Rabbeinu Bachai writes before that, right after the pasuk says that he got up from his Mishnah. So it says, "V'yikat Yaakov Mishnatov, Vayomer Achein Yesh Hashem Makom Zeh." He realized Hashem is here. He's in a very holy place. V'anochi lo yadati. So the wording of this pasuk doesn't make any sense. V'anochi and I lo yadati. I didn't know. The repetition of the word I is superfluous. It could have just said v'lo yadati. I did not know. I had no idea that this is the Beis Hamikdash place. Instead, it didn't have to say v'anochi and I lo yadati didn't know. So the Mefarshim say that what's Yaakov saying? He's saying the anochi and the I, meaning my selfish self, lo yadati, I wasn't thinking about, I didn't know about. The anochi kama, lo yadati. I didn't know about the anochi. How did I experience this idea of vayikatz mishnato, that I woke up from my learning? Because I didn't go to sleep for myself. I didn't go to sleep for the anochi. I didn't go to sleep for my selfish reasons that I had. It was v'anochi lo yadati. I didn't know about the anochi. It was all for Hashem. Everything that I was doing was for Hashem. At the end of, after he wakes up, so he says to Hashem, "Vayidar Yaakov neder lemor." He took an oath. Im yeh Elokim imadi, Hashem, if you protect me, ushmarani b'derech hazeh, if you're going to be with me and protect me along my way, shanochi alech, that I'm walking, v'nasan li lechem lechol ubeged lobosh, and you'll give me bread to eat and clothing to wear. V'shavti b'shalom beis avi, and I return b'shalom, v'Hashem li Elokim, Hashem will be my God. Okay, that's in pasuk chaf. So Rabbeinu Bachai says as follows. He says this is a clear expression of a tzaddik. What did he ask for? Says Rabbeinu Bachai, ask me for, I want bread and I want clothing. He doesn't ask for the extra. The basics. He asks for what he needs. Because when someone looks at every single thing that he has in his life, and he looks at it as items, as opportunities to serve Hashem with, so you just need the basics. You don't need the extra, right? Extra means you don't need it. It's fun to have, but you don't need it. When you're looking at everything in the world as things, vehicles to use in a service of Hashem, so then often you're able to chip away at what it is that I need and what it is that I have. And Rabbeinu Bachai says something in Parshas Veschanan, Perek Vav Pasuk Hey, the Rashba writes this in a tshuva, in Chelak Hey Siman Nun Hey, 555, easy to remember. He says in Shema, Rabbeinu Bachai says, and the Rashba, They say in Shema, we say, Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. There's a tzivah, a command that we have to love Hashem. B'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. With all our heart, with all our nefesh, our soul, b'chol me'odecha, and with our money. So they both explain as follows. B'chol nafshecha, b'chol levavecha, with your whole heart, v'hu midaso shel Avram Avinu. That is Keneged Avram. That Avram, with his chesed, gave his whole heart, his love. So your whole heart, you have to give to Hashem. It should always be with loving for other people. Uv'chol nafshecha, with your whole soul. V'hu midaso shel Yitzchak Avinu. That's Yitzchak, because Yitzchak was willing to sacrifice himself on the Mizbeach. Uv'chol me'odecha, and all of your money. L'mos kol mamono, he should not be interested in his money, says the Rashba. Imitztarech lekach, l'kaim avadaso yisparach, only for what he needs for serving Hashem. Ki Yaakov Avinu, like Yaakov. Shemas ba'osher beis aviv. He didn't want the money from his father. Ubachal yoshev olam. He said, I'm just going to sit in a tent. Va'amar, and he said, v'chol asher titein li aser asmenu lach. I'm going to tithe from everything that I have. It's going to go to Hashem. I have stuff, I have a little, I'm going to give it to Hashem. It's not for me, it's not for my interests. Everything is for Hashem. And the Rabbeinu Bechai says over there, B'chol me'odecha, same thing, Keneged Yaakov, shehifish meiser b'chol mamono v'afilu mibanav. And we see, one more marmakum over here, we see next week's parsha. In the beginning of next week's parsha, Yaakov wrestles with the Sar of Esav, the angel of Esav, and the pasuk says, "Vayivasar Yaakov levado." Yaakov was all alone. Vayavik ishimo, and he fought, he wrestled with the Malach. And the Gemara says in Chulin, why did Yaakov go back over the river? When he ended up by himself, he was with everyone. He had a lot of people with him. Wasn't Vayivasar Yaakov levado? He was left all alone. Why? Why was he alone? Why did he go back? And the Gemara says he went back for the pachim katanim. He went back for the small little valve. He forgot his cup. You know, nowadays you forget your water, that water thing. People, in my day, no one walked around with water. And my day wasn't that long ago, by the way. Nowadays, everyone's walking around with water bottles all over the place. I don't know, I'm not sure what happened, but something happened. Okay, so he also forgot some water bottle, something, a pach katan. And he went back to the other side to go ahead and get the pach. So the Gemara says, Mikan, we see from here, letzadikim, shechaviv aleim amonam yosem migufam. Their mammon, their money is more important than their guf. Now, originally, you look at that simple explanation, it looks like oh, they're really into money. No, and the idea is no. The idea is that the money was important because anything that he had was for the service of Hashem. So it wasn't he needed the money because, unfortunately, his portfolio went down, so he had to go get the 5 cents, and he thought that was going to do something for him. He could care less. He wanted that pach katan because that pach katan was very important. He was using it for service of Hashem, and he was missing it. So he had to go back to get it. That's Yosem Migufam. Yeah, it's a big schlep to have to go over the river again and to go back. My goof is going to be worn out. I'm tired. I've been walking around. Forget the 5 cents. No, that 5 cents, the only reason I had it was because I needed it for my service of Hashem. So therefore, it's Yoser, Migufan, that the mamonam is important because the mammon that he has is all for the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we have to try in our everyday life, Baruch Hashem, we're all very comfortable. And we have things that our grandparents, our great-grandparents never would have dreamt of what we have. Even some of us who think we don't have that much, we have so much more than what people used to have. So we have to try to be careful that all the brachos that we have are steered or focused towards avodas Hashem. And sometimes it's a little too much. We don't have to go for it. We don't need it. It's not important for us. We have to try to always evaluate, reevaluate what is that we have and what we're using what we have. And then when we do that, we'll be able to change everything that we're doing to avodas Hashem. We'll get schar for every little basic thing. And Bez Hashem will get closer and closer to Hashem, that which we all strive for. Shavua Tov.